Hello, my name is Jennifer, and I've had some technical difficulties, so trying to get this to go. But so there are risk factors. This is the risk factor video. So there are risk factors for people transitioning from adolescence to young adulthood. People have several changes that will occur in such a short time. Elizabeth D. Hutchinson in 2015 wrote in our textbook, knowledge of risk and protective factors related to the adulthood transition can help social workers assess young adult clients' current challenges, vulnerabilities, strengths, and potentials. So a social worker needs to get to know the client and find out what their strengths and hopes are and their weaknesses and how to overcome them. And the social worker also needs to have a good history of not only the client, but as well as the family, school, work, and aspirations that they have in order to create a plan. So this time is when decisions need to be made for most people. They must decide their future, essentially. Do they want to go to college? Do they want to go into the workforce? Do they want to stay with the family? Where do they want to live? Who do they want to live with? Religious beliefs. Most families have very defined religious beliefs for religious beliefs or not religious beliefs. And so a person needs to decide that personally for themselves what they want to do. They have to figure out how to become financially secure. Do they want to enter into a relationship, or do they want to keep the relationship that they're in, or do they want to be alone? And as well as parenthood. Is that something that they want now, or do they want to wait? Today's trends seem to be that people are putting off marriage and family for the college experience or to be financially independent before they start a family. All decisions are just the beginning to making identity for themselves. The choices that we make about our lives create our identity. When somebody goes off to college, they're a college student, and that identity becomes ingrained in them. College students get to do different things than people in the workforce. If you're in the workforce and if you're a cook, then you take that identity on. Or if you're a teacher, we become the things that we do. James Marcy stated that during times of great upheaval and transition in young adulthood, people are likely to regress to earlier identity modes. So people, that stress and that pressure, from society and our family and just ourselves is enormous. And some of the behaviors that they have is to go back. And to cling to what they know. Their family, their school, their friends, and to have that experience again and be afraid to move forward. And maybe that's, a good thing, is to stay in that spot for a little bit and get the confidence and courage to move forward. As a social worker, we need to discuss that with our clients. How are they going to move forward? And to not diminish those experiences that they had, but to build on them and to grow. Romantic relationships take on a whole new importance at this time in life. These relationships are the start to the future. So what do we want in a relationship? Do we need to choose a partner who is compatible and has the same moral and values that we have, and goals and outlook on life is important. Relationships are tough no matter what age and time in our lives. Relationships take skills of open communication, honesty, willing to compromise, and to cherish your partner. Relationships there's that pressure, the time is ticking. When you hit, I don't know, 19, 20, our society says you need to get married, you need to find a good job, you need to go to buy a house, you need to get the picket fence. And if you don't have those things, and if you don't begin to get those things, then somehow there's something lacking in us. And so that pressure is in the media, it's in our family, it's in our traditions, it's ingrained in our society, and we definitely feel that pressure. And as a social worker, we need to discuss those pressures and create, a plan on how to deal with those. Excuse me. The decision comes with risk, such as most good-paying jobs require a college degree. Once at a place of employment, it is hard to leave. If they decide to go into the workforce, taking a job that you're unqualified for, entering the workforce to pay the bills, but not being able to explore any passions, and getting stuck in that cycle of just, I got to go to work to pay the bills, and not having that true inner passion and joy explored. And I think as a social worker, it's really my obligation to, talk with my client and find out what those passions are. And if there was no money obstacle or any other obstacles in the way, what would somebody do? Would they become an artist? Would they, what would they do? And once finding out what that passion is, to then, make a plan and see what works and see what doesn't, and I don't think this is a quick fix thing. I think it's a process, with the client to figure these things out and to find a plan to get there. Also to emphasize that change can be made to the plan, to the path, whatever you want to call it. Life is very fluid and we need to move with it. There might be risk of, somebody has to support a family, or a partner. There's many issues out there, disability and addiction issues that we've discussed before. And identifying those stresses and trying to be sensitive to those, but also trying to find some solutions that are helpful to the clients. Other risk factors might be the family: an alcoholic parent, low income, drug addiction, family tragedy, mental health issues, and family dynamics. These ties might keep the person in the family when it's time to adventure out. Warren and Smith in 2001 stated risk factors that researchers found to be associated with the transition to adulthood include low family income during infancy, poor reading achievement by age 10, problematic school behavior during adolescence, and adolescence health problems. These risk factors cannot be changed at this point, but a social worker can help the client to overcome these shortfalls. Suggesting behavior modification therapy if those behaviors are still an issue. Also looking at the family income issues and realizing that, it's their time to provide financial independence for themselves. And how are they going to do that? Maybe, if a tutor is needed, to help with academic issues, to do that. Because to building a foundation to education, even though they're out of school, it needs to be sustained for their lifetime. These skills are not going to go away in the real world. And I think there's a, I know I said it when I was in high school, I don't need to know any of this history stuff. Well, in today's world, there's a lot of things that we need to know. And the education that we need to know those things is highly important. I think it's also important that, the client needs support, from us as social workers to know that they're doing the best that they can, They're right where they're supposed to be. They're on the path that they need. And to really just support the client, I think is highly important. So thank you.